Okie dokes, folks. So, I know I had a great update earlier called Boston, We Have a Problem. Okay, so I made that the main video that as soon as you go onto my page, you can see that immediately, okay, right away. So make sure you all go and check that out, okay? It's very entertaining, worth a watch, obviously, just like everything else I make. So, you know, just take a look at it. Do yourself a favor, really. And also, when you do yourself a favor, you do a favor to me too, but just by watching it. Okay, so I mean, come on, let's be real. Let's get down to brass tacks. Let's get down to business, and just do it. All right. So, this update is going to be like a really neat update. In terms of sports, updating y'all about what's going on, especially now during the COVID-19, all the really neat potential opportunities that could arise from, just stuff happening. So, one opportunity that one of my buddies and I were talking about was the idea of essentially pushing everything back. So the NFL not starting their season until later in the year, right? Maybe let's say November, October, November, maybe December at the latest, which obviously would push the Super Bowl back quite a bit and no longer being, on the first Sunday of February, which, the pro would obviously be, not interfering with the COVID-19 epidemic, right? Because obviously at that point, by October, November, or early December, obviously, that second wave would be going down, therefore decreasing, the chances of, getting the disease, right? And so that would be essentially the biggest pro to it, because as long as and plus, it would give another pro would be, before I move on to the negatives, right? Because there's always that 50-50 split between the positives and the negatives to essentially most situations. So actually we have to cover those. But another pro would be probably give a higher chance of fans being able to enter the NFL arena or stadium or whatever you want to call it, and be able to watch those games in person at the stadium without having such a high risk. Obviously, keeping the brand new daily routine protocols in hand and in mind, but still, getting those folks in the stadium, be able to get them to the games, be able to get all their revenue, not all their revenue, but most of their revenue from getting fans in the door through the ticketing booth and into the stadium to get not only to pay for parking, but to pay for concession stands, right? So that would be another big pro, okay? Because teams would actually be able to make a heck of a lot more money than just money from their technology stuff. And so another thing to consider as part of the negatives, negative Nelly, negative. So another thing as we move into the negatives, okay? Because obviously the negative things are important, need to be considered, is the fact that a lot of folks are so used to the Super Bowl being on that first Sunday of February, right? Obviously, because it's been that first Sunday for such a long period of time that people will be like, heck no, we don't want to change it. We can't change it. If we change it, we're gonna have a big, shindig, and we just can't let it happen, right? They'd be so furious and so infuriated with the NFL that it just gets to a point where it would look bad for the league, and it just wouldn't go well, right? And plus, the whole idea too is that now there's the other indoor football arena leagues and all this other stuff going around the country. I know there's a team right by me called the Massachusetts Pirates, where they play inside a stadium, in an indoor facility, and they do whatever they want to do with that, right? And so that would obviously have to interfere with their season as well, therefore taking away a lot of stuff from them, a lot of their TV rights, a lot of their radio rights, because all of that would more than likely just go right to the NFL since there's so much more popularity with the NFL. So, something to consider. And another negative is that, the players want to play when they usually do, right? The players at this point are in such like a routine, on such like a mindset that, they're so used to starting up, their practices and throughout the summer, right? And then obviously you got training camp in August and, preseason games, August and, early September. And then obviously in September is the big opening extravaganza stuff. And so, players would be angry with that as well because, they're like, hey, look, this is my job, I haven't really, been able to do any football stuff since February, right? And now you're telling me I can't do my job? Like, come on, give me a break. Let's get to work. And the coaches and the organizations would probably be the same way because, especially with the top executives within the organizations, because they're like, hey, look, we need money, right? We need to make money in order to keep afloat, to keep sustained, because obviously that's a big thing with a lot of teams right now. It's like, hey, look, a lot of us are financially like going broke. So in order to fix that, we need to have games so we can make at least a little bit of money anyway. Okay, because like they say, more money fixes a lot of problems, but they also say more money, more problems. Okay, according to Michael Gary Scott from The Office, right? More money, more problems. So it's definitely an interesting thing to handle, and of course, just like with anything else that's been shown over time and in history, is that sports helps the country, helps the globe come together, especially at points throughout history during like major crises, right? You look at some of the battles that the wars that the United States has been in. You look at unfortunately 9/11, where sports essentially was the way to bring to help ease the country and the globe back into what essentially is like the normal life. Okay, and this in the NFL, really came up big throughout those years, where really, so the NFL really helped out, those times, and so this would be a great way to help, even the country ease back into those, situations, those scenarios. So it's interesting, really, something to really think about, as we go forward, because obviously there's a lot of time between now and essentially August, July, August, right? So there's definitely a lot of time to, for something to happen, whether it's positive or negative. And there's a lot scientifically, a lot of stuff medically that needs to come out, that needs to essentially digress, so that way, our medical professionals can, try to come out with something that would help folks, essentially not get the coronavirus, right? And another, like a big point that I know I've mentioned at some point, but I'll mention it again now, is the helmets for the players, right? There's been a huge discussion about the helmets already with the concussion scenarios, but this discussion is about ways to help like block the coronavirus from getting to the players, so they would have something on the mat. They would essentially have a medical mask on the face mask of the helmet that would block the player's face, so that way, when they go up to the line of scrimmage, they're essentially not breathing on each other, and that would reduce the risk of spreading the virus among the players. And I think it's a great idea. I'm sure there's some way that they can figure it out, right? Because they already have most of the mask there already, so they just need to put something in there that would help block it, and it could easily be done. You know what I mean? So I think it's a great idea by the NFL, taking those great initiatives, taking those great protocols into place. So I think it's a great idea. Really, really great move by the NFL, and be awesome to see what happens with that. And it'll be neat. It'll be neat. So I bet you Roger Goodell did not come with that idea. I'm sure it was somebody else. So to whoever came up with that idea, kudos to you. That was a great idea on your end. And so I'm gonna transition into more notes, okay, regarding the NFL, because obviously I just finished a big talk on who made the Patriots dynasty? Was it Bill Belichick? Okay, rulebook Bill. Was it Tommy Boy, Tom Brady, or was it both? Right? Was it both? And where does Roger Goodell factor in? But what's interesting is now I'm gonna try to talk more about which Bostonian sports moments were really the best Boston moments, right? And so the first, I'm gonna make this a multi-video, right? Series, right? Because I don't want to automatically say everything at one time and have it be like a 25-hour long video. Because I could go on and on and on forever about it, right? And as it is casually starting to rain on me, I'm gonna go under my barn overhang. Okay, that's my barn. I'm gonna go right under that overhang because I don't want to get so wet, okay? But I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep walking. I'm going to get ready to rock and roll. So, when I think about all of the great Boston sports moments, there's a lot, okay? There's a lot of, like a ton of great sports moments in Boston because Boston is such a dominant sports, city. New England's such a sports-driven community. And, Boston was one of those places where if you can't do your job on the athletics side of things, you're getting kicked out. You know what I mean? Because my opinion about that is the fact that there's a lot of folks who get up like super early in the morning, go to work, whether it's in Boston itself or it's anywhere around the state, anywhere around New England, and they work 100 hours a week. They basically don't get a break, and you're telling me that if you can't do your job on the basketball court, on the ice, on the football field, or the baseball field, and yet you're getting paid millions of dollars just to be there. Hey, yeah, right. Get out of town, buddy. Like, come on. And the great thing about the organizations here in Boston is that they know it. All right, they understand what's going on around them within like the local communities, and they understand it in the organization as well, right? And so the first immediate sports moment that I honestly think is the first, like the top moment in New England sports history is the Patriots come back from against the Falcons in the Super Bowl a few years back. Okay, so take this. Again, it's one of those games where it's another like awesome matchup, right? The Patriots that year were awesome. The Falcons that year were awesome. Both teams had such a great offense, such a great defense. Okay, firing on all cylinders from both sides of the football. Special teams, obviously, made a huge impression on the team as well. You know what I mean? So both teams were like so good, and to have both two teams go against each other in the Super Bowl like that, it's crazy, right? It's just wild. And what's even cooler is that New England was facing the Falcons, and the Falcons quarterback at the time, Matt Ryan, he was a New England kid as well. You know what I mean? New England, which is awesome. Graduated from college in Boston, and it was neat. So, a quick lapse through the game, okay, or at least as quick as I can, because again, I can talk forever. So, essentially, the first half. We'll start with a bigger situation. We'll digress in between the lines here. And so, the first half of that football game was obviously dominated by the Falcons. Okay, at the end of the first half, the Falcons were ahead 28-3. Okay, so you talk about dominating the game. The Falcons were all over it. Okay, to be ahead 28-3, especially in the Super Bowl in the first half, it usually takes the whole game just to score that much. Especially in the Super Bowl, with all those stakes involved, right? Not the food stakes. Okay, just the high intensity and the high pressure of a game like that. So to be ahead by so many points at the end of the first half, it's unheard of. Okay, it really is, especially in our era, in this like essentially modern history. Okay, and to be that far ahead against the Patriots and again against Bill Belichick, who essentially Bill Belichick is the defensive mastermind. Okay, that's just another huge accomplishment in itself. And the fact that the Falcons were able to essentially get over all of those hurdles and be able to figure out and be able to dominate like that, it's crazy. It's wild. And, everything that the Falcons were doing, they were doing essentially perfectly, right? They were holding the Patriots from scoring. Okay, they dominated on offense. They were able to hold the ball for essentially most of the first half, and it was crazy. It was absolutely wild, and to hold a Tom Brady in his offense that year to three points. They had to 3 points. They scored 3 points from a field goal. Okay, so all they did was kick the ball into the field goal post once. 3 points right there. That's it. First half, Patriots. So to hold them to just 3 points and that's it. That's again one of those things that's just absolutely unheard of. Like you never hear the Patriots just scoring 3 points in the first half. Like that's absolutely absurd, crazy, wild, whatever kind of word you want to use. Okay, so the fact that the Patriots were shut down the first half. Usually every year, when I was in high school, when the Patriots were in the Super Bowl, I had some folks from my church's youth group over, right, to watch the game. I was out of my mind. Okay, I was livid. I was chucking the stuff up my. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I was literally throwing stuff at my TV. Okay. I was like this close to literally just shoving my TV over and be like, okay, guys, party's over. I need to be alone. Okay, I was furious. I was so upset. Okay, I'm pretty sure I broke my couch, and I'm pretty sure today is still broken, or at least has like a ton of chips in the wood because, oh my gosh, I was so upset. When I get competitive, I get like super competitive, and the fact that my team was doing absolutely terrible. The first half of the game was it was not right, okay? And the fact that I had to watch the second half of that kind of game was just absolutely dreadful. It was going to be dreadful, okay? So I looked at everybody in my youth group. I'm like, okay, clearly I broke my couch. Clearly I almost broke my TV, and I should have honestly broken my TV as well. But you know what? Let's just take this moment to like degress, rewind, reset, okay? And clearly, the Patriots need a ton of miracles to happen in order to come back and win, right? And so the Patriots get out in the field, and everybody looked pretty miserable at that point. And something in the locker room just clicked. Something on the sidelines just made everybody realize, like, hey, look, we actually need to show up to this game and play, okay? And it was wild to hear at that point too. Most of the Patriots fans had already left right after halftime. They were like, yeah, they're not coming back. We're going. We're going to, some other party, and which was obviously a complete waste of a ticket. And I would have taken it regardless. And that way I would not have broken my couch and my TV, right? So, the Patriots got back out on the sidelines, and again, the Patriots came back in classic Patriots form. They started clicking on all cylinders, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if they took, drugs or steroids or whatever, but it was like nuts. They were doing what the Falcons did in the first half, essentially doing everything right. Patriots looked like the Patriots for the first time that game, and at that point, I'm like, okay, they're gonna, they're starting to make a comeback. But then, there's just not, because they started like about midway through the third quarter, their comeback. So I was like, cool. I looked at my friends. I'm like, cool. They're gonna make a comeback, and they're still gonna lose, but they're still, they're not gonna lose as bad. So that makes me feel a little bit better, right? A little less of a dismal wake up the next morning. Okay, and so they just kept coming back. And I remember the biggest catch the second half of the game was like Julian Edelman's catch, right? He kept surrounded by defenders, and then he essentially tried to catch it and then fell down. It kept bobbling up in the air. It went down to his feet, kept bobbling off his feet. Somehow it never touched the ground. And then, it landed in his hands, and he's like, heck yeah, I caught it. And the defenders were like, heck no, there's no way you had that. It clearly touched the ground. It had to, And I was saying the same thing. I was like, that was the catch to save the game. They're done. They lost the Super Bowl. There's obviously no way they caught it. He caught it. So the referees, they went into the booth to review it. They came back out and they were like, yep, the catch is good. First down. And I lost it. I was going absolutely absurd. I was screaming like crazy. Everybody looked at me like they were like, Jason, you need to just literally shut up right now, or we're calling the cops. Like, you're just going too crazy. And I was like, I don't care. You're in my house. I invited you over to my house, to my Super Bowl party. I can do what I want. All right? And that's what I did. And so it got to a point, the Patriots just kept scoring. They kept scoring. And then the last touchdown they scored, they obviously got it. And they needed a 2-point conversion to tie the game. Okay? And so they went out. They got, they were Tommy Boy Brady threw the ball. I'm pretty sure it was Chris Hogan, who caught the ball, brought it, got the ball over the plane, got it into the end zone, and then the referees threw the flag. And I was like, that's not good. Because if it was on the Patriots, it would obviously make it harder for the Pats to score that 2-point conversion, because the Patriots got the penalty. It would, bring them farther away from the goal line, which, continuously, would decrease their chances of being able to tie it. And imagine going all that way, being able to have that 2-point conversion to tie the game and then missing it. And put in all that time, put in all that effort to, do that, right? The ref, the head referee went out into the center of the field and was like, oh, yeah, penalty on the Falcons. Do you want to accept or decline? The Patriots declined it in order to take the 2 points, which then tied it. So, they went into overtime, which is the first time a Super Bowl went into overtime in Super Bowl history, okay? Which is crazy, like another feat in itself. And guess what? The Patriots won the toss. They marched all the way down the field. Because at that point, the Falcons were pretty darn tired out, right? Just like the Patriots in the first half of the game, the Pats defense was on the field the whole entire time, okay? And at that point, it was pretty evident that they were going to be like that the rest of the game. But no. Bill Belichick, talked some sense into them, being the defensive guy that he is. And so, in the second half of the game, the Falcons defense was the same way. They were beat up. They were tired. They were on the field most of the second half. And honestly, that was clearly the moment that mattered the most, okay? Because at that point, it's between giving up or winning the Super Bowl, and clearly they gave up, because the Patriots, they marched all the way down the field. And the first, they wanted to run it in, and the first time they tried, they missed it. I think they tried to throw it in, they missed it, and they ran it in. James White, running the end zone, won the game. And I've got to tell you, it was one of those moments where, again, like I said earlier, so many different kinds of miracles that needed to happen in order to win that game, and every single one of them came true and happened, and they did it. So it was just crazy to think that the Patriots were able to pull it off. Like, nobody saw it coming, okay? And people were like, oh, yeah, I knew they were going to do it. It's like, come on, give me a break. No, you didn't. 28-3 at the half, and you thought they were going to come back from that. Yeah, give me a break. You don't know squat. So the fact that it happened, absolutely incredible, okay? So I think that's always the top moment in New England sports history is right there, okay? So we'll do the top 10 moments in New England sports history, or Boston sports history, and yeah, then we'll go from there, okay? So until I see you all next time, okay, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Thanks to our frontline workers. You're the heroes, not the sports guys, okay? Don't let them confuse you. Sports guys are just sports guys. Sports people are just sports people. And, y'all are the real MVPs, okay? So I'll see y'all soon.